Hello everybody, NC4XL North Carolina for extreme lovers. This is going to be a different video. This is for all the brand new to amateur radio, ham radio, DX, uh, county hunting, parks on the air, and all the different nets and things that you might run into since you're either new into amateur radio or you're back into amateur radio after some time of getting tired of a lot of things you've seen back then. Us old folks, we can resemble that. Just so you know, this is how I'm recognized in Parks on the Air. I'm going to talk about Parks on the Air, but I'm going to talk about something else too. I have an associate friend that I really respect, and he come across with a statement that really struck me as normal, and we're going to use the words burnout, period. We'll just use that for simple. I don't want you as a new amateur ham radio operator to catch yourself in that field. When ham radio no longer is fun, it's time to choose another hobby. And it's not one that you want to get on the air and bash this. It's not like it used to be. It's not that. No, that's not what we're referring to. Each of us have different levels of drive to seek things. The individual I'm talking about is a super person, very dedicated, gives it everything he got, but what he's found in his statement is, it's too much like a chore. Well, the fun is gone. A lot of folks that are contesters, and I'm just going to use that word because I'm not. I don't chase contests. I work for myself. Me, myself, and I are satisfied with the day that I go out and either sit here in the park right where I'm at right now and just throw an antenna up and play some CW and get 4 or 5 contacts. Or work in some DX countries because the band's open. But when you get started in amateur radio, there is such a vast amount of things to do. Working different modes, working satellite, working CW, working FT8, FT4, PSK31, and the list goes on. So getting into ham radio, be ready for a journey that you create when you have your desires, not somebody else's. I'm going to focus back on this thing called contesting. Many times we get so wrapped up in being number one at this, or I accomplished this, and I'm going to get a certificate for that. And when you die, not a single person here on earth is going to worry about all those certificates you got piled up in a book or on a wall. So your level of chasing those is for you. When it's no longer fun to chase them, it's time to back away, change your style, find a new hobby, or something like that. But don't catch yourself spending lots of money on different pieces of equipment because you're so gung-ho, because you're so brand new. And then you realize, man, this is getting old. And it will, to a degree, on most of us. Even as an activator, I love going out activating. But as for me getting old, my vision is not the best that it used to be. So I find it more difficult being in my 70s with poor eyesight to take my paper scribbles, which I'm the only one that knows how to read them. God forbid I could be a doctor. I wish I could get paid that kind of money. But it's not how that works. So based on that, what we're going to do is I have somebody around, and I just want to make sure that I focus on the area of other people showing up here. I'm not going to go to a laptop or a device because I can't see. And I, again, come from the old school. But for me, it's not a chore. It just takes more of me to do what I want to do. If you're going to chase DXCC, all these countries, there are some elements that can be costly. It's called beams and amplifiers and all this. Or you can just get lucky and go out and use your G5RV or your dipole and go on the internet and connect to some of these DXCC or DX sites that tell you who's on when, and you can chase them and you can turn your amplifier on. But that's your choice. Nobody is making you do that. That's your choice. If you want to work everybody on CW, that's your choice. See, the whole thing about amateur radio is it's you get to choose and do what you want to do. But I'm going to ask you to do something for me. Because you don't like it, don't browbeat it, okay? Don't get upset and say I'm bored. Just move on. Nobody is going to care, just like this video. When I die, who's going to worry about my videos? Nobody. They're an informational video only, and that's what I'm here for, is to provide free information. I don't charge nobody. I don't ask for likes. I don't ask you to subscribe. I just want to share some things. But for you being a new ham operator, crawl before you walk. Walk before you run. Run before you fly. But do it in your own speed. Now I'm going to talk about PODA, Parks on the Air. That's my speed. I left amateur radio operator for 10 years. In the 90s, early 90s, because I got tired of hemorrhoid, and a doctor fixed me up on HF and the clicks on the 2-meter nets and 440 nets, and now everything's digital. You can talk across the country via the repeater and a little Bofang. Nothing wrong with Bofang. I got one, okay? But that's not fun for me. See, that's the difference. But I left amateur radio because it was really not pleasurable for me. But I didn't complain to anybody about it. I just left. If you're brand new to amateur radio, there's some things that you're going to learn over time, and time is an important word. Propagation, sunspot cycle activity makes a difference on what bands to work when and if they're even going to open up. Solar activity is another thing that really all of us that are in amateur radio need to just keep an eye on, not necessarily become smart on, but follow it, and it's a reference point. It's not always 100%, probably 90%. But if you go to your QRZ page, it gives you the prediction for today is. And it says poor, so what do? You stay home or you stay off the radio. Go try. That's the direction we're going. Go try. If you don't try, you don't know. Go to the different bands that you're licensed for and play. See what you can do. Don't go there and call for 2 minutes and say, well, the band's dead, I gotta go. It takes a while for folks to spin the dial, so to speak, as a new amateur radio operator. You got the fancy radios now that's got a waterfall on it, and you can look and see what's next to you either side. We didn't have any of that when we grew up. You spun the dial and listened. So turn your waterfall off and hunt that way. Or turn your waterfall on and go look and see the squiggly lines coming up and down, and you say, there's a signal, so you go to it. Whatever you choose in ham radio is awesome. It's yours. It's your choice. If you're in a club and they're active and they do things, whether it goes to, and we'll use Parks on the Air, field day events, CW contest, SSB contest, North Carolina QSO part. There's so much. And you're a new ham operator. Do a little at a time. You're not going to get it all. You're not going to get every country worked. You're not going to get every mode worked, because overall it's too much. Parks on the Air, I promote it exclusively because it brought me back to amateur radio. It created for me, not for you, it created for me fun. I got to learn more about me and my radio equipment and being out in a park in fresh air where they got mosquitoes with tail numbers on and black flies and little ants that are so tiny but bite, and talk around the world with a wire up in a tree in the peacefulness of getting outside. I don't have to be number one. There is no number one. You don't get an award for being number one. We don't have that type of contesting attitude. In Parks on the Air, if you're a contester, your attitude is self-inflicted. And Parks on the Air, you're an activator, your addiction is self-inflicted. Either way, I choose, and you can choose whatever direction you want to go. I love Park to Parks. I love people working me more than 50 times. I've created something special that I offer people. Parks on the Air give us an opportunity to go out and practice emergency communications under catastrophic situations using our equipment and being licensed ham operators, and to be a service to the public. But at the same time, they give us a reason to get outside of the house instead of sitting on our fat anatomy and watching it spread. Or sitting at the house and say, woe is me, I'm getting old, I can't do anything anymore, and complain, and well, that's the Geritol net. We don't need to live that way. You don't have to. You got so much to do. When you go kayaking, take your little radio, take your portable antenna, your portable battery, put it in a waterproof, whatever. Go out and see where you can talk to, whether it's DX, whether it's Parks on the Air, whether it's the Ole Miss Club, the 3905 Century Club, RV Club. It's endless, is what I'm trying to say. Ham radio is not just one thing. And if you like talking on 2 meters and 440 repeaters, you can do that too. If you like talking digital, well, you don't really talk, you cheat. You set your computer up. It's just like going to a teller machine. Put your card in, tell them how much money you want, put your PIN in, ka-ching, ka-ching. You get a receipt that says you talked to the bank. The bank's in China, okay, or wherever. That's not my cup of tea, but people enjoy it, and that's good. because that's what they like. Me, I like CW. That means I'm controlling it. I don't have a reader on a computer that's hooked up my radio and listening to CW and deciphering it for me and printing it on a screen, and I'm bragging how fast I can copy. And one day in the real world, when I have to get on the air CW wise, I can't copy diddly squat because those people, I don't want to claim what they are, but they're using a device to use their head. They need to use their head and take the device out of the way. Same thing with talking with one another, talking around the world, whether it's a signal report or emergency communications, medical. You have so much in front of you. Thank you for taking the time. Do not let this hobby scare you. Do not think that you're going to accomplish it all, because every day something new comes out. Oh, by the way, I don't know what time the satellite's flying by, but you may want to see if you can make contact. You only got 7 seconds of a window or 2 minutes of a window, and I don't know how that works. But the thing is, there is so much in amateur radio that you can experiment with, play with, set your own goals, and it's not a contest. If you want to do contesting, expect to, over a period of time, run into you've had enough. That's normal. It happens to many folks. Enjoy ham radio. They can shut the internet down. They can shut the power down. Your battery, your radio can work even under solar activity situations. May God bless. 73's November, Charlie 4 X-ray Lima. NC4XL, North Carolina for extreme lovers. I'm not. Just Dom, the darling old man, and my coffee. 73's.